So today I'm joined by my guests Adrian Camp and Stuart Lund from HomeMoveBox. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, great. Thanks, David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to have you with us. I'm a big fan. Before we start, I'm going to give the game away. But I'm a big fan and I'm just going to try and take us through a little bit of the kind of background behind both the evolution of Home Move Box, if you like, as we know it today, but also in as much as my passion for it, because up until you guys came along. It was pretty much a very miserable process handing over a set of keys to a buyer who has been through, very often months of tussling with surveyors and mortgage brokers and solicitors, and you get to the end of that sort of transaction and it's moving day. And you walk into an estate agent's office and you've not showered, you've been dragging boxes around town. You've had 7 fights with the wife because you're trying to get everything into the move. It's an immensely stressful day. You turn up to collect the keys on something that you've spent your entire kid's inheritance on, and all you get is here's your set of keys, there's your alarm code, thank you very much, and goodbye. It was very awkward. It was really awkward. And I suppose when Home Move Box came along, that was great because we actually got to try and make people feel a little bit special. Because we could say, okay, yes, here are your keys, there's your alarm code, but hang on, you're going to need this as well because you're moving into an empty house. You're going to need some stuff to sort of keep you going. And in those days, I mean, we're going back maybe 10 years ago now, but in those days, it was a very basic product. But we've come a long, long way, as you can see from the boxes that are stacked behind you, Adrian. So I'm just going to throw this over to you. Um, Give us a little bit of the sense of that kind of journey that you guys have been on.
Yeah, thank you, David. It certainly sounds like you've moved. Sounds like quite recently, based on your your experience.
It's still
But,
ingrained.
yeah, you've certainly summed up the moment quite well. That kind of moment of getting the keys is an exciting time, and there's been a lot of build up to it, and it can be quite underwhelming. And what we try and do is bring a bit of theatre and make that moment of getting the keys that bit more exciting. And the business started. Well, it's over 10 years ago now, and it started off as a very simple, basic sample box. And it was based on what products we could get from brands that wanted to get into the homes of home movers. And the proposition was given away by estate agents, and it was free. And it was very much an advertising proposition. And the insight was still the same, that everyone likes a nice gift when they move in. The evolution over the years has been to make it increasingly relevant in terms of content. So how can we guarantee we know what people want when they move? We've handed out well over 1 million of these boxes, so we know the kinds of things you need on move day. And so the content is one thing, and the second piece is, how do we make this more effective and more impactful for the agent themselves? How do we create a kind of branded proposition that really drives that moment and makes it feel that they haven't just moved and got a gift off the pile. They've got a Adrian Camp and Co. Welcome box, or a Mars and Bar, or whoever we work with. We've got we probably work with 1,700 different agents across the country. So we want these things to be distinctive. They're not meant to be Fortnum and Mason hampers. It's very easy to spend a lot of money and keep someone happy. What we try and do is create that thoughtful, relevant proposition that agents can afford to hand to everyone and never want to hang keys out without one. It's our goal.
So yeah, that's really interesting in terms of how it's moved along. Um, for those people that haven't looked inside one, have you got one there that you can
Yeah,
sort of?
I can. Let me just grab one from my pile. So this is one I've got here from Lang Llewellyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see it. Fully, completely designed by Rhiannon and the team there, and we work with them. They create it themselves. It's a blank canvas. They design it inside, it's printed inside and outside. There's a nice, congratulations message.
So it's got a real sort of premium feel to it, hasn't it?
Again, this is about the size of a pack of A4 paper. Again, it's not a massive hamper, but it's got a lot of area where you can print on. It's totally, say, customizable. We've now added a QR code on here. So it says on here, we'd love you to share your experience. And then you scan a QR code and you can leave a review for Lang Llewellyn. So
Yeah.
it really is about, this is a business tool. This is not about free gifts that you can hand out with the keys. This is, how can I use this moment to drive engagement and get someone to leave a positive review? Because we know how important that is for agents. And then in terms of the proposition, this one we've got, tea, coffee, there's a couple of coffee bags, you've got some 10 tea bags, you've got some love corn snacks, you've got a nice pack of biscuits, and then there's 2 non-alcohol gin and tonics. And we've got a real range of propositions that you can choose from. And then the other piece that comes in it, which is often, I don't know, it's often worth more than the box itself. So there's a gold envelope in the box, in every box, and inside it, we work directly with the brands. And so you can save £40 at AO. It's a unique code. It's unique, a relationship that we've got directly with them. You got £30 off IKEA. We've got 15% off at John Lewis. So you can probably save 150, £200 on things that you're almost guaranteed to buy.
Yeah.
So, and that's, part of the proposition. And so you get something that, I mean, I look at these every day, so probably I'll get used to them. If you haven't seen one, you get the keys and you go home and you can put the kettle on, you can make a cup of tea, you can sit down and then you can start ordering your washing machine and save £40. You get a really lovely halo onto the agent for a simple proposition.
It's all about I think it's all about timing, isn't it, really? Because we outlined at the outset of this the kind of the atmosphere, generally speaking, when people come to sort of pick up keys, then is not the time to sort of ask them, well, can you leave a review? Can you
Yeah.
do this? Can you do that? But you do know that they're going to go back to the place that they've just bought. And eventually they'll say, okay, well, let's have a look at what's in the box that David's given us. And then you do get nicely.
Their expectations are low, David, to be fair. We do a lot of surveys, so we people leave survey feedback, the movers on it, and they're not expecting anything from their agent. And so to get something, they go, gosh, that's a thoughtful gift. And so they're already thinking that's actually a nice touch because we've all of the worry and all of the potential hiccups along the way are forgotten the minute you get your keys. So it suddenly turns into the most positive moment. So it is a nice time to ask for a review once they've got home and settled down.
So, Stuart, perhaps let's talk about the review piece a little bit because we are notoriously bad at asking for reviews, just in general. And I'm talking as a nation almost. We are shy. Even for estate agents, we are shy, and we've often at the end of a transaction sort of scurried away, hoping that people will leave us alone and not ask us too much stuff, but there's never been an opportune moment to sort of reach out and say, hey, look, if you did like anything about it, please do leave us a review. But the actual feedback that you're getting statistically from the people that have had the boxes, first of all, that I would say is really relevant. I think you're reporting about 85% of people who receive them really love them. But talk to me about the impact on reviews as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the USPs, David. I think since we've been able to offer a branded box and we can have a QR code that drives to their review portal, this isn't just a gift box. It's a very powerful marketing tool, and the results have proven that. And I think for me, where we've seen that spike with the agents that have gone branded, it speaks volumes. We can basically show them that the boxes that have been given out, what have converted into reviews for them. So, they speak for themselves, really. And I think for me, the reviews are everything for agents, and rightly so. People are very quick to complain on review sites, but when it's a positive, this is a positive. And I think for me, there's so many levels to this. It's not just about the review, it's about the retention of a customer.
Yeah.
It's that memorable moment that they're going to remember this. It's also that word of mouth, which is very powerful. And if you're driven by reviews as a customer, and you're going to sell your house or rent a property, and you go straight to their review portal and they see a surge of reviews in the last however many months, and they're all 5 star, then that's win-win, isn't it, really? And our boxes do that.
No, they absolutely do, and very often it's the last thing that people see or remember about the estate agency. And it's funny because my face is normally the first thing that you see. So I'm the valuer. I'll walk in and I'll sell you the dream. I'll even take your pretty photos and I'll get your house looking great. But no one remembers that after 3 or 4 months of tug of war over contracts. And what they tend to remember is almost like their last interaction with the agent. And if that is positive, I think overwhelmingly it then, people, what's that old saying that people never forget the way that you made them feel.
Yeah.
And I think people are what I love about the boxes in general is that I think people are always surprised to receive them. They don't expect it. They don't think it's part of the normal kind of customer journey or experience. I think it's a really welcome addition, isn't
I
it?
think, David, increasingly actually, in a very digital world, everything is sent via email, and you get just a sea of emails coming in. And we are unapologetically analog and old school in terms of the proposition itself. This is a gift. Everyone loves a present. It's not what they would have necessarily ordered. It's a gift. It's a thank you gift. And that puts a smile on people's faces. And I think what we've tried to do, whilst we're analog and old school, is to get some data behind it and actually use a survey, get verbatim. We get tons of verbatim feedback on this, what your initial impression. But actually, the data says, and this is from about 23,000 movers last year, 85% would recommend or use their agent again, having got a welcome box. And I don't want to overpromise what Tea and Biscuits does,
Yeah.
but it definitely leaves a positive, and we measure that. And where, as well as reviews, and the QR codes are unique to the book. You can make lots of QR codes. You can measure those QR code scans to the review to tie it back to the box. And we work really hard to try and tie the data back to the proposition to say this is a business tool, this is an investment, this is something I would want agents to go, if I have to cut money, the last thing I would cut is the welcome box, because I know that drives my reviews and my word of mouth and my referral. And that's the difference between us being a hamper company and us being a marketing company that creates a business tool for
Yeah.
agents.
I think the overwhelming sort of game changer really is also the way that they look. I mean, I'm just looking at your background there. They're superb because, we as agents, we love seeing our names up in lights. We like seeing the for sale boards. We like seeing adverts with our name on it. But it's really important for brand presence. And it's really important for the consumer as well to sort of to see that. And I think that it gives these branded boxes, they don't look cheap in the slightest. They have that premium look and feel. It doesn't just straight open up into the box of goods. You've got to do a little bit of, there is that premium touch to it. So I don't want to overpromise, but it's got a
No,
touch of Christmas morning to it, hasn't it?
there is, and there are, we've got a range of propositions. We've got a bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And even at the top end at platinum, you're getting a diffuser, and you're getting T-bits slightly improved content. But there is a range, and so everyone's not equal. Some people say, I want for my tenants, I'll give them the bronze one, and then for buyers, I've got a platinum box, and people mix and match across the range. But the design, most agents don't necessarily have a designer on hand. We've got a fantastic designer that will take a brief. You just give them your brand, all we need is a high res logo, and we can look at your website, and then you can feed back on how you want the design to change. So we've tried to make it easy. Agents don't really need to have too much. It's not like they need an agency on hand to design one. We can take that all away. They just need to give us, what's the strap line? Is there a key visual? Is there anything that they're particularly passionate about, and we'll integrate it. Otherwise, we can kind of go for it ourselves. And this is from start to finish, probably 4 to 6 weeks, you can be up and running with
Well,
something brand new.
well, that was going to be my next question. So the concept is amazing. It works. It really works. I mean, we've got some fantastic testimonials. We've already mentioned Lang Llewellyn, but they are fantastic agents, and I know that they were looking for a while of a way of saying goodbye that really sort of got that thank you and that reciprocation going with the customer, which I think is superb. They've used it as a way to sort of leverage better reviews as well, which is was great. So it does what it says on the box, if you like. But people are using the QR codes, the very, very effective tool. We know all of this. Talk to me now about the other side of it in terms of if I'm an agent watching this today and I'm thinking, right, we've always needed something at the end of the process. This makes total sense. Um, you've outlined that it takes, you said within about sort of 4 weeks or so. What is this kind of onboarding experience? And perhaps if you can talk us through the different charging options, that'll be great.
I'm going to hand this over to Stuart because he is the absolute expert here.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. So yeah, basically, David, the way that we like to do it is, listen, if someone's interested in this, I like to give them my time. So what I mean by that is perhaps like a 15-minute team call. Then I go through everything with them. So they see some live examples of the tiers, any questions that they may have, and then we move forward. So to give you an idea of some costings, and I go through this when I engage with any agent. So bronze is essentially 8 boxes for 15 quid plus VAT. Now that's full of samples. We don't give the option to do branded boxes on bronze. It's only the premium tiers. They are what they are. They serve a purpose. But then when you want to get into what we're really talking about today, the premium levels. So we have silver, which is 6 for £30, £32, sorry. You have gold, which is 6 for 50. And then you have platinum, which is 6 for 70, all plus VAT. Now, if they want a branded box design done, either they can do that in-house, like Adrian's alluded to, if they've got a designer, or our very good designer can do it for them. Typically, we get that turned around within 24, 48 hours for the design, depending on if there's any tweaks that need to be made or not. But the agent has complete control of what that box looks like at the end of the day to represent their brand and capture and encompass everything they want on that box. Once that's done, I just need to get the final approval from the agent to say, yep, we're good with that. And the beauty about this offering, David, and I think for me, what's really hit home in the last 7 months I've been here is that there's no contract as such. So it's a very simple model. You simply pay for what you have, and that's it. Your only real obligation is if you have a branded box, the minimum order is 100. Now that's £2 for a branded box, but I won't get into the details too much on this call with that because I know not probably the right time to say this, but we do have some exclusive offers with Ran and Kerfuffle, which we'll go into depending if agents come through to us. However, that's their only commitment is that 100 branded boxes. And then very simply at the end of that, we let them know when they're running low. And if they want to reorder, great. We hope they will. They see the value. And if they don't, they don't. But there's no contract as such. And I think that's really the beauty of this is that in so many offerings, as you know, David, you are tied into contracts, et cetera, et cetera. With us, no, it's a very simple model that works. And that's essentially it. So the turnaround from engagement with myself, establishing what it is they want from a tier point of view, having a box design done, to Adrian's point earlier, we can turn this round within 4 to 5 weeks easily, depending on when in the month it is we're having these conversations. So, and it's very transparent as well, which is one thing that I've loved about this since I've been here is it's transparent. There's no hidden costs. It's all up front. You know what you're getting, and you only pay for what you have, which is perfect.
And what I love about it as well, there's a bit of agility to it as well. So if I do give out all my boxes and I need some more, your turnaround typically is sort of 48 hours, isn't it, to get me another drop, which I think is superb. I think the investment that you're asking for here in terms of the costing, it's tremendously affordable. to add value at a I mean, we've been struggling as estate agents for years to add value at the end of the process. It really has been something we've done it in all sorts of different ways. So there was a time where we'd give out, I don't know, we had a framed photo sort of design thing where they put in the first offer, when they exchanged and when they completed. Now that was great in the old days when transactions used to sort of take much much less time. But now to sort of put it in big lights, this is how long you've been waiting for your keys, isn't the same sort of goodbye. So it doesn't make people feel as special. But this is a lovely way of doing it. I also think that as an agent, there's a bit of sense to it because not only are you more likely to get a positive review, which we all want. Every business thrives on we operate with trust, and trust is only won by social proof of that the other trust that has been vested in you previously, and the sort of commitment to service that you've got, and those are borne out hopefully in reviews. But the other thing that we're tremendously bad at is keeping in touch with people. And if you historically had gone back and sort of interviewed people and said, well, you bought your house from David, would you then be using him to sell your house again? They would actually have restarted the process and said, well, yeah, we did deal with David, but we've sort of forgotten about them. And we've now called out the three boards that we see up the most in the area. But I actually think that by giving people that last sort of goodbye, that is branded, that is meaningful, that is well intended, it doesn't matter what the value of the goods are in that box. Like you said, it's not designed to be items that they would have ordered themselves. It's very much the thought that counts, and I think that is the feeling that stays with them, and I think that makes it easier to talk to them later on down the line because they realize that yes, in as much as it's a means to an end, and yes, you want to charge them as a customer at some point, but you do also put effort into that. You do invest in the relationship.
I think well, actually, the box itself, the design of it, it's A4, just slightly bigger. It's actually designed to be kept. So what we want is this to be kept in the office. Is you can keep all your documents in there. Maybe it's some of the first things you got about your house. So you
Yeah.
can have a lasting memory of the agent that sticks with you, and it'll be, we've got it literally says it in the box, don't throw me away, and it gives, put some walls up and make a house for a hamster or store your documents in. So we're kind of being a bit, but irreverent with it. But we want people to keep the box, design them nicely, make it something that reminds them of when they bought the house, and then it's a constant reminder of the agent as well. So we're kind of again trying to subtly make sure that the agents remembered throughout the because we know they don't move every year, do they? So it's going to be a few years, but it is definitely something that we think will hang around.
It's look, it's superb, and obviously my job is to be enthusiastic about all products that estate agents can use. However, I just genuinely want to sort of congratulate you because you've taken what was a good idea and made it a really great idea because you've moved with the times because you could have stopped there if you like, and I don't think you have it by any means. I think you've responded to what the customers of the feedback that they've given you. I think the ability to sort of brand these and personalize them is really what sets it apart. And within the marketplace, I think it's a very minor investment that you make, but it's an investment that's really worthwhile. So highly recommend agents to engage with you and speak to you. You also happen to be lovely people who are easy to deal with, which we like as well. Stuart touched on it earlier, but we have got some fantastic offers. So if you're a RAN agent, if you're a Kerfuffle member, talk to us about it. We'll put you in touch with the guys at HomeMoveBox. But don't just take our word for it. There are some very, very passionate advocates for this out there. You will find some fantastic reviews, and we'll be posting some of them over the next couple of weeks as well. And you sort of and what you see is that people are integrating this as part of their overall marketing strategy. Because it was something we neglected for years, but now we're sort of investing in it, and you've made it easier for people to do that. So thank you very much for your time today, guys.
No, thanks for having us on, David. It's
My
great.
pleasure.
Thank you, Dave.